Hey guys, welcome back to Under Construction from Pain to Purpose. My name is Ashley, and today we are talking about loving people the way God does, not just in words. And that phrase has really been playing on my spirit lately because the truth is, love is the most spoken thing in our churches, and it's often the least practiced in its truest form. When we say we love like God, we sing about it. We preach about it. We even put it in our wedding vows. But when love costs us comfort, when it challenges us to sit with people who don't look like us, don't struggle like us, or it looks different, or they live differently than we do, suddenly love becomes conditional. So today I want to talk about the God way of love. And I don't mean this polished version that we see on social media all the time, but the superior way. In 1 Corinthians 13, Paul is writing to the church that is full of spiritual gifts and strong opinions, loud voices, and even deep divisions. They had knowledge, they had faith, they had charisma, but they were missing love. And Paul tells them something radical. Without love, everything else is just noise, not just wrong, it's empty. And then oftentimes looking at 1 Corinthians 13, 4 and 8, love is patient, love is kind. And while it's often used in our wedding ceremonies, this passage was never meant to stay in ceremony. This is not a message of romance. It's a community message, a how to treat people who are hard to love message. Paul is saying, what Paul is saying, this is how believers are meant to love. And then when we're applying this to people who might be struggling with mental health and substance use, this is where it gets really uncomfortable because somewhere along the way, the church has started drawing these invisible lines, and we say things like, they're too far gone, or they don't want help, or we've tried before. And then I've heard at some point, just stop wasting your time. And while we might not always say these things out loud, we show it with our distance, our silence, or even lack of presence. But true godly love refuses to grow discouraged, even when the situation looks impossible. Okay, I kind of want to break down 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. So let's hear this with fresh ears. So, love is patient. What that means is love doesn't rush someone's healing, it doesn't demand a quick change in order for us to feel comfortable. Love is kind. Kindness is not agreement, it's dignity. It's how we speak about people when they're not in the room. It's not dishonor others, right? But oftentimes we do. Love does not shame people for their struggle. It does not reduce someone to their diagnosis. It is not self seeking. God doesn't ask, what do I get out of this? It asks, what does this person need right now? It keeps no record of wrongs. So, not saying things like, well, they relapsed again. This always happens. Love doesn't keep score. But what love does is it always protects, it always trusts, it always hopes, and it always perseveres. That word always matters, always hopes, even when hope feels risky, even when it's been broken before. Jesus, as the model, He always was found around the broken. He moved toward the broken, the addicted, the mentally ill, the discarded, the ones that everyone else had written off. And he didn't wait for them to clean themselves up at first. He loved them into healing, not after. So, this is a challenge for the church. If your love runs out faster than God's, is it really his love we are offering? Because love that only works when it's easy is not the God way of love. The superior way of love says you still have worth. You are not disposable and you are not hopeless. And your struggle does not disqualify you from belonging. So, this is an invitation to love people not just with words, but with presence, with patience, with consistency, and with hope. To remember that the same grace that met us is the same grace that we are called to extend to others. Because love never fails. But when we often stop loving too soon, we fail others in showing people what the true love of God really is. So today, let's choose the God way of love, not just words, but to be the reflection of God's heart. I hope you'll have a blessed day.